Welcome to the Roadmap to Secure Love. In today's episode, Kim and Kyle discuss how high libido partners can navigate desire discrepancy and build passion in relationships. Let's dive in.
So today, Kim and I want to expand on our episode on desire discrepancy. And we really want to focus on the partner that is kind of feels stuck in that dynamic, or one of the partners that feels stuck in that dynamic who has the higher libido, and really start to expand and explore what goes on for them, how they can connect with themselves and show up in the relationship to help them get closer to what they need and are seeking.
hmm Yeah. And I want to say that we will be talking about the lower libido partner too in another episode. Um, but today we want to focus on this higher level libido, and it's not just penis owners.
Mhm.
Sometimes a penis owner has the lower libido,
Yeah,
and a vulva owner has the higher libido.
absolutely.
So it doesn't really matter the gender,
hmm
right? But being a higher level person for having a libido is difficult.
It is difficult.
Um, Oftentimes we feel shame that we want pleasure.
hmm
We feel rejected,
hmm
right? Because we're not getting it and we're not getting sex. And so there becomes a lot of anger and resentment and pain
Of course.
for being a higher libido.
hmm We end up getting these messages if we're the ones that feel that desire to connect in that way. And that comes up for us, and we want more and more of it. And we don't get signals that our partner wants that too. It does start to touch this raw spot where we go, huh, it, am I desired? Do they actually want, I want them. I crave them. Oh, it feels so good to be with them. But do they want me? Do they desire me?
Mm.
And it's from that really sensitive spot that anger and frustration comes up.
Yeah. And then we hear often people say, but this is what I need.
Mhm.
This is what I need. And we get into a cycle of this is what I need. And the other person saying, well, no, it's not something that I need.
Mhm.
And we become in this push pull.
Right.
And then it comes into consent. Well, if your partner doesn't want to have sex, you can't be pushing them. And it just becomes very a stuck place
Mhm.
for the higher level libido person.
Mhm. It does, because we're pushing for change. We're pushing to feel wanted. We're pushing to feel desired. And what we get back in that cycle is this message of, no, this is fine.
Yeah.
I don't have this need. This should be fine. Accept it.
And I don't know, Kyle, if you've had this experience, but I don't have a lot of clients when they first come to me
Mhm.
and their higher level libido share what you just said with their
No.
partner, which is, I want to connect.
Mhm.
I need you.
Mhm.
I feel lonely.
Right.
I want to be close to you. What I hear more of is like, what is wrong with you? And this is something that I need.
Mhm.
You're not meeting my need.
Mhm.
And I'm not okay with this.
Mhm.
But I don't hear until we get through some therapy, right? This vulnerable place of what sex actually means and what it does for that person.
Right. Well, and this is what's so hard. Like I talked about that raw spot. If that raw spot's getting touched and I don't know if you want me, if I don't know if you care about me, if I don't know if I matter, I am, it's a lot harder if I don't have experiences of sharing that and getting connection in that. I'm not going to take that risk. I'm not going to let my heart come out on the table. I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm going to tell you how things are not going well and focus on what needs to change. Hey, we need to read this book. Hey, we need to go to this sex workshop. Hey, we need to have sex more often. Hey, you need to touch me more. Hey, like it's not enough. So you need to go get tested for your hormones to see if something can change. that raw spot that gets touched causes us to try to change the circumstances by trying to change our partner.
Okay, so as you were saying all that stuff, I could feel the anxiety, the shame, the brokenness coming up in me.
Say more about that.
Yeah. I mean, I was imagining what that would feel like as the partner hearing, like, go get your hormones checked. And what are you talking about? And here, watch this podcast and let's go to this and let's do that. What's your problem? It used to be good and now it's not. And I just felt so not good enough. And I could see it being difficult to touch into any kind of eroticism for me.
Mhm.
Because I didn't feel good enough. I felt like a failure. I felt like the identified patient, the problem, right? Um, and that's just not erotic.
No. It's really hard to be erotic when we feel shame, when we feel like we're not enough, when we feel like we're the problem.
No, it's so hard.
Mhm.
But it makes sense, in this little interaction that we were role playing,
Mhm.
why you would do those things.
It
Because
does.
you're not feeling wanted, you're not feeling needed. You're like, what the hell?
Of course. I'm pissed.
Yeah. And you should be pissed.
Mhm.
So what do we do with that in order to help the higher libido succeed? What do we do?
Well, first we gotta, just like what we're doing now, feel that validation of this is really painful. This is hurtful. This is hard. And everything we're doing is to try to change it. So we feel loved, we feel secure, we feel better in the relationship. So the underlying need we're trying to go for is totally valid. It is how we go about that that can help us get closer to that.
Yeah.
And so, Kim, what are some of those steps that we can change how we go about it to start to move in that direction?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you're sitting here and listening to this and say, I'm the one with the higher libido, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with you that you want to have sex. There's nothing wrong with you that you want to have pleasure.
Mhm.
Nothing's wrong with you. It's number one. So we want to have acceptance for ourselves that it's okay that we have these feelings and that we want sex and we want pleasure.
Mhm.
And that's a way that we connect. It's okay. But one of the things that I think is very important is we've got to expand, which you and I have talked about so much, expand the definition of sex, right? We cannot just focus on orgasm.
Mhm.
And so what that means is that we've got to catch our partner. And as I'm saying this, I'm saying, oh my God, this seems so unfair that I've got to do all this work. I just want to acknowledge that, how unfair this feels. But we want to catch our partner doing things right
Mhm.
and focus on that. And if you're not having sex, and you're only having sex once or twice a year, you're like, well, there's nothing to catch.
Right.
Okay, I'm living a sexless marriage.
Mhm.
So you want to catch the hand holding, you want to catch the cuddling on the couch, you want to catch the kiss at the door.
Mhm.
What I mean by catch with that, you're going to say, let's say I'm sitting on the couch and my partner lays their head on my chest and it makes me feel loved and safe and comforted. I'm going to say, we just spent 30 minutes with your head on my chest watching TV and you moved me. I needed that. I needed you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay. So coming through the door, they give you a kiss, they greet you. You look at your partner and say, today's been horrible. It's been a horrible day at work. And you kissing me and letting me know that I'm valued helps me let go of that day.
Mhm.
Thank you for your kiss. You want to catch any little possible connection point and you want to validate it. You
Mhm.
want to say, what does it do for you? And you want to thank them.
Absolutely. And I think just as you talked about with the high libido partner, they're kind of going, well, this is all on my shoulders. This is all for me to change. And we will talk a little bit more about that low libido partner and their piece in this. They have a role in that too.
Yes, they do.
What we're focusing on though is what can you do to start to create a context, an environment where pleasure is accessible.
Yes.
And so what Kim is highlighting is when we're often in this pattern, we're because we're hurting so much, we poke at our partner for all the things that we need to change. And they get this message that what they do is wrong, that how they show up is wrong, and they pull away even more.
Yeah.
And sometimes this leads to where we're not even affectionate or we're not having that connection at all in the relationship. And then that probably activates even more the urge for, well, let's have sex because at least I need some contact with you. I need some attention with you. And yet it reinforces that pattern where I feel like I'm not wanted and the other partner feels like something's wrong with them, that they don't have that instant desire. Um, and so what you're saying is instead of us maintaining that pattern, we want to start to point out to our partner how their presence, their touch, their affection lights us up.
Yes.
And when they start to get those signals that they can do it right, that these other ways that they show up, the kiss, even if it's a peck, can light us up, they're getting signals that that is really powerful, that they can impact you in a positive way, which is
Yeah.
ultimately what the withdrawers or lower libido partners want. They
Yeah.
want to know that they have that influence and they have that impact, that it matters.
Yeah.
And yes, we're not in sex, we're not in the bedroom yet. We're not there. But it is so important to catch these smaller moments to build up a sense that for the lower libido partner, that what I do can please and make my partner feel loved and cared for.
Yeah.
And the more they get that message, the more they will feel a little bit more engaged and safer to show up and explore with you on how to create those feelings of being loved, valued, wanted, desired even more.
Yeah. So at the beginning of our podcast, Kyle, you were talking about how the higher libido partner would be like, what's up? Why aren't we having sex? And I told you I felt anxious.
Mhm,
Okay. What you just said right now calmed me.
mhm.
That's the difference,
It is the difference.
right? When I feel calmer, I can tap into eroticism and I can move close.
Mhm,
It invites me.
mhm,
Instead of repelling me, it invites me.
right.
And that's what we're looking for. And I want you to know, all of you higher libido people out there, that this seems flippin' unfair.
It sucks. It sucks for us, right? Because we're like, hey, I gotta change this. I gotta hold off some of this stuff. I gotta kind of make these little moments matter. And yet I have this big urge to feel desired. And I'm supposed to be the one that's giving the validation. In this moment, it does feel unfair. And you can do this differently in a way that can support you in getting more and more of those signals and messages and actions from your low libido partner that you matter.
Yeah.
And that can lead to more affection, more intimacy, and more play in a safe, secure relationship by doing this. And this is not going to be easy, right? I can imagine as that higher libido partner, okay, you're laying on my chest. I want more. I want more connection. I want us to go into the bedroom. I want us to go hop in the shower. And yet I'm supposed to stay here and stay with how this feels good in my body and let my partner know just that.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Sucks.
It does.
And so why are Kyle and I asking you to do this? It's because we know it works.
Mhm,
And we've seen the process change when you can catch your lower libido partner in ways that they touch you or connect with you, and you praise them for it, and you tell them what it does for you, and you thank them.
mhm.
when you come to them with an invitation and not like, what the hell's wrong with you? This stuff works. And it's extremely hard.
And this is one of the things I think a lot of us feel that this should just be, if we just focus on this, if we just do this, it'll change. Which is why, as high libido partners, we might get pokey. Right?
Of
We might
course.
go, let's read this book. If we just did this, it would all change, and how it would feel better. The problem is that often does not happen in that way.
No.
So Kim and I are fighting for you for the longer term feeling of being desired and having that felt within the relationship, right? Even your partner, when your partner says, hey, you look really sexy today. Don't go, oh, it's the first time you've ever said it in 3 months. You probably feel that way. You totally probably feel that way. But that is a moment to go, oh, wow, that feels really nice to be noticed by you. Thank you for seeing how sexy I am.
Yeah.
And they get a message, oh, wow, that mattered to them. That helped them. I want to do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to feel better and good. So let me just note that in my brain. Let me note that in my body and try more of that.
Yes.
And so there are going to be these, as Kim likes to call, crunchy moments for us as the high libido partner to struggle with that part of us that wants to go, this is not enough, and help our lower libido partner see the ways in which they do impact us in a positive way, so they can get steps, just like kind of going up a staircase, steps to get more and more connected, more and more love, more and more of that feeling of desire to come out from the inside of them to us by encouraging them for the ways they do things well.
Yeah. And I want you to stick with Kyle and I, because we're going to talk about the lower libido partner and another podcast. We're going to talk about solo sex. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We will help you
Mhm.
with a roadmap and getting the best sex. It's work. It's hard. It might seem unfair. At the end of that journey, it's a lot of pleasure and a lot of new ways of connecting. So stick with us.
That's it for today's episode. Here are the key takeaways. 1. Embrace and validate your desires. 2. Focus on small moments of connection. 3. Communicate needs with empathy. 4. Encourage positive behaviors in your partner. And remember, creating a loving, secure relationship takes time and effort. We hope you found this discussion insightful and helpful. Until then, stay connected and keep listening with love.